Hey guys, welcome to a new tutorial video. On this video, we'll be making this simple layered trouser. I don't know what to call it, flare or gather trouser. Okay, just this simple effect on our trouser. All right, so yeah, this is what we'll be making in this tutorial. So let's get into it. So guys, the first thing you're going to do is the measurements you need are your waist, your hip, your crotch, your lap measurement, right? So I've gotten my waist measurement, the distance from my waist to my hip, 9 inches, my crotch 12 inches, my lap line is 3 inches, 3 inches below my crotch line, and then I'll get from my waist to my knee, on top of my knee, right? So where you want the flare to start from. Now I have a well-detailed tutorial on how to cut a trouser. You can check for it on my page. Okay, so you impute your measurements. All right, so the measurements, you divide it by 4. You first do your hip measurement divided by 4 plus your allowance. I use 2 inches allowance for this trouser. Then you mark it on both your waistline, your hip line, and your crotch line. When you're done, you mark your crotch extension. To extend your crotch line, you have to do your hip line divided by 4. Whatever you get, you divide it by 4 again. That's what is going to give you your crotch extension. Then on your hip line, you come out by 1/2 inch and then you connect it to your crotch line. Then to get the midpoint of your trouser, you measure your crotch line, whatever you get, divide it by 2, and then you mark a straight line on your trouser. And then that straight line is going to help you, it's going to give you a guidance on how to impute your lap measurement. Okay, you impute your lap measurement and then you impute your round knee measurement. Okay, so you cut out your front part. So this is the front of our trouser. Okay, please, there's a well-detailed tutorial on how to cut a trouser on my channel. Just type it and you're going to see it. All right, so this tutorial is just to teach us how to draft and sew this trouser that has a flare at the knee part. All right, so the first thing is just cut your trouser, your knicker, because why I'm calling it a knicker is because the part where you're going to stop is on your knee. Okay, and that's not a trouser. So for the back part, you're going to extend the waistline by 2 inches, then the crotch line you extend it by 2 inches, and then connect it to your hip line and to your lap line. That's just it. I've already added allowance on the front piece. That's why we're not adding any allowance on the back piece, because we're going to be drafting it. We're going to be cutting out the same pattern. The only difference between the front and the back is the crotch line and the waistline. All right, so I'm just going to cut it out like so. And then the next thing we're going to do is, this trouser doesn't have a pocket. Okay, doesn't have a pocket, so you're going to cut it out like so. And then the next thing you're going to do on that line, the line that we marked as the center point of our trouser or our knicker, the line is going to be our dart leg. So I've joined my knicker, I've put my zip, my band and everything. Now it's time for us to fix in that the gathers or that effect. All right, now from my waistline to my knee line is 22 inches. So that aside, now you get your fabric. Depends on the amount of fabric that you have. There are 2 ways of doing it. You can cut yours in a flare form, or you can make yours gather. So I'm going to make mine gather because of the material that I have. For this tutorial, I use 3 yards. For this tutorial, I use 3 yards for this trouser. So the remaining piece of my material, the length the length of the trouser is 45. So what you're going to do is 45 minus 22. Whatever you're going to get, that's going to give you the length of the gathered part. All right, so I've gotten the gathered part, just a straight material. What you're going to do, fold it into 2 and get the center point. Then you draw a gather on the upper part. Can you see? You draw a gather on the upper part. Okay, so when you get your center point, if you want to fix it on your material, you can either draw a gather or you can either pleat yours. Okay, It depends on your preference. So when you get your material, when you've gotten the length of the material, now to get the breadth, that's how wide the material is going to be. When you measure your round leg, whatever you get, you're going to multiply it by 2. Okay, so if your round leg is 18, what you're going to cut is like 36, so that when you gather it, it's going to be full. Now I've gathered it and I've already notched the center point. Okay, so on the center point, the part that you notched, you have to pin it to one side of your round leg. You have to pin it to that one side. Can you see what I'm doing? That part is the part that I notched. That's the center part of our straight strip. I've already gathered it. Then you now try to place the gathers in a way that is going to cover the whole round leg. Okay, so this is just going to take your time, but you just have to be careful so that the gathers will be okay, like they're going to cover the whole leg. All right, so when you place it and then you've drawn the gather, you make sure that it covers the both parts. You do it for the upper part and for the lower part. When you see that it gets to the round of the other side, can you see how I'm just extending it so that the gather will be shared proportional? Yes, let me use that word. Then when it gets to the edge, the next thing you're going to do, please, as you're drawing your gather, right, be pinning it, pin it, okay, so that when you're sewing it, it will not be hard for you to sew. So as you're drawing your gather like so, when you get to the edge, the first thing you're going to do first is to join the edges of the material, the gathered material. You have to join the both edges. See, I've gotten it up to the edge, so now I'm going to join the both edges together first. Okay, so when you join the edges, you're going to join the edges on a straight line. Can you see what I'm showing you? Just join the edges first on a straight line before you now connect it round to your round knee. So when you are done, this is how your trouser is going to look like. Can you see how lovely it looks? Can you see how beautiful it looks? So this is how to create that gather effect on your trouser. So guys, please, if this tutorial was useful to you, please click on the subscription button, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, and put your comments, your observation, your questions on the comment section. I'll try my best to explain further. Thank you guys for watching, and see you on my next tutorial. Bye.